Hello, we are starting just in a moment. Let me just run a few checks, whether you can hear me, whether you can see me. Is the chat working? Say hello in the chat. Let's see if we can see it on the screen. I'm really expecting a few folks to join today. So let's see if this worked or not. Try to log in myself and see if the audio is working. Okay. My studio. Ragav, hello. Hello, it's nice to see you here. I think it's your first time here on the live stream. We'll be starting in just a minute. We may get a feedback of audio. I'm just gonna check. Ragav, hello. Okay, now it works. I guess. Let's give the folks a few minutes to join. You know, people are still like commuting from work, I guess. So let's give them a chance to join. I've put a slight delay on the video so you guys can hear and see the subtitles. So if you want the captions of what I'm saying, I've checked it from the previous live and it works pretty okay with my accent. So you guys can also turn these on if you feel uncomfortable with my accent. So it should be fine, I guess. Let's just give them a few minutes because there have been a few people expecting this this live stream, so I think we should give them a chance. In the meantime, I'll set everything up. I will start maybe a few transactions. And we will run a short recap of what was done previously on what we are working on today, so that everyone knows what's happening. Okay, let's see. There was one error. That's an unexpected one. Okay, that's an unknown protocol. That's okay, I guess. I have changed the OpenTelemetry collector today, so I'm hoping we can get more visual on the events, particular on the timeline. So I will be checking that as well today. Just one more minute, and we can start, I guess. Let's give the folks a chance to join. I can see that the numbers are growing. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you, everyone here. We are starting just in a minute. Grab your favorite beverage. It can be a soda, but it's best if it's water. Or if you're running on coffee, don't forget to also hydrate. And the chat is open, so I'm constantly paying attention to it. If you guys want to ask something on if it's something you don't understand, something you want to get clarified, this is what this session is about, really. So I will be developing stuff. I'll be working on some stuff, some concept that I'm trying to implement. But this whole live stream is really for you guys. So if you don't understand anything, if you want to get something clarified, if you want to know and understand how the things work here, just do ask on the chat and I can just, clarify if that's what you want. Cool. I guess we are starting then. So on the last stream, we have managed to get the core web vitals measured in the JMeter. That's the numbers in here. So we have the core web vitals extracted from the Selenium WebDriver. We also have events from the browser that have occurred. So stuff like page loading, unloading, clicking, like before unload, stuff like that, right? And we have successfully entered them and exported them to the OpenTelemetry collector. So right now, they would be shown, I hope they will be shown on our OpenTelemetry collector. The problem with the OpenTelemetry collector I was using was, let's see if this works. I should see my services there. Oh no. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna stop this Jaeger, and I will show you what the problem was with my Sinos installation. So I'll just stop it here, and probably we will switch to the Jaeger at the end, because we have those events, but I don't see really any value of using any sort of events on a Sinos front end. I may have missed something from the documentation, I may have missed something from the implementation there, but really, I'm just gonna start the Sinos installation here, and you will see why this might be completely useless for any investigation or analysis of these events. So we are using the span events. One of my least favorite things to do is to launch this Sinos. The ClickHouse is running. Hot rod we can stop. Open migrator, I don't think we need that. We need a collector for sure. We need a front-end instance as well. So the problem with that was I don't really see any value of bringing the events to the Sinos instances for now, right? There is no way to analyze it. There is no way to visually represent hey, when this event had happened in relation to my span. They are just a list of timestamp or some numbers, like some time occurred from the beginning of a span, right? In Tempo or in Giger, so the collectors I have seen, so for traces, they have way better, at least they have some visualization on the timeline, so you can see exactly more or less what the event would be that had affected these the occurrence of those events. But with Sinos, it's really sad to see that they don't bring these anywhere. And if I look, for example, at my manual service, I will have a open dev performs page. I'll look at the latest one that I'm gonna have here. Let's see if I can see any events here. So if you're looking at the events here, for example, of the single transaction, they will be here, and that's just a list of events in a tab here, right? There is really no nothing I can do with that. I know, okay, the time content loader has been 1.94 seconds. And that's pretty much it that I can do, right? I don't know, hey, if I want to see, okay, did I need to load this, wait to finish the content loading until particular JavaScript execution or particular call? I cannot do that. I cannot verify what was the main reason. So yes, that's one of the problems I'm willing to right now tackle, and to switch to Jaeger maybe, so that we can see those events captured. But also there is one problem that we have not solved, so that's what we are planning to do today, which is timing of those events and capturing them all, right? Because if you the standard implementation of the load test and pretty much all the load tests, the web browser based load tests that I have seen, were measuring certain conditions and occurrences on the web page, right? I haven't seen anything more advanced than that. So if you have a instance of the test, for example, of opening a page, what typically happens is that you are opening the page, and then you have a WebDriver wait with some expected conditions. And these conditions will be that some elements will be available, some elements will be clickable, or some elements will be visible, stuff like that, right? So anything that fits into the expected conditions would be there, right? And this is the standard practice for test automation. Not exactly for a for a performance test, right? Of course, we care about that we can execute some actions, but also, if there's something still rendering on by the backend, if there's still something that has to be fetched from the backend by the browser, if we just wait for an event, for a specific button that we care about in the next step, we may miss those important details that the browser is still actually running something in the background, right? So this is the challenge I want to tackle today. At least to simplify this and to get rid of this expected condition here, and I want to wait until all the backend calls have been finished and all the rendering, so all the modifications to the DOM have been concluded, right? That's because what I see right now opening the browser, maybe it's gonna see here what I see right now we're opening the browser. The first metric that I know we may have inaccurate from the performance test will be the cumulative layout shift, so CLS. And that's because if we don't wait for everything to render and for everything to load from the backend, we may end up with the situation that the page is suddenly entering some new value, or giving up some pop-up, or giving up some some ad that is just stretching up, right? And then we will try to click that this on a certain element on the web page. If everything gets shifted, that's exactly the CLS that the Google Chrome or the Crux is measuring right now. That's one of the core vitals, and it's important to measure that until it actually doesn't change, right? So if you only get the first few layout shifts, it may not be enough. Like I've seen, and I was really browsing some websites just this week with specific intention of seeing how this layout shift affects my user experience. And it really makes the difference when you're into a web page, a few seconds, you are already familiar with the content of the page. You know what you want to click, but then again, before you click, just a few milliseconds in, an ad is just going to shift so that you click on an ad or some other text that you never wanted. So that's what I'm trying to tackle. I know that it's not the perfect solution because there are some services, some websites that have a constant connections. There are some sites that use the WebRTC for back and forth communication. I'm fully aware of that, but I want to tackle right now the most simple and the most the most common scenarios, right? So let's try to make this for the common folks, and then if it's some specific edge case, we can add a new function to that, right? So first things first, let's try to move these to the Jaeger, and to do that I have to run a Jaeger container and Jaeger collector. I will try to stop all the Synos instances. Guys, if you do have any questions, do not fear to ask. I'm still looking at the chat, so I'm actually waiting for you to ask anything if you are interested, of course. Okay, I have to verify which ports exactly would my JMeter send the spans and the traces to. That's a bit problematic one. Let's see if we can tackle it somehow, because I have the JMeter instrumented with OpenTelemetry, and I just have to clarify and define these. I think we're just going to do it with environment variables. So my JMeter will just be forwarding these calls to my Jaeger that is running locally. So I have these ports here. I'm pretty sure these are the default ones, But let's verify this is no UDP ports. Give me all of these. What's the default? I'll be looking things up. Sorry, that's a live stream. They can, like, everything bad can happen, and it probably will. So that's the beauty of having a live stream and live demos. So I need to verify the what's it called? What's the port for the gRPC? I think. What is the port here for the gRPC? Okay, I think I can do for 317. It should be actually sending there. Let's see if I can just restart my JMeter. Don't recall right now exactly the parameters I was using there for the JMeter, but I'm pretty sure if I just restart, it should reestablish the connections to the collector, and they should be pretty much default. The sign-offs work just out of the box, so I could just forward the traces as we were. Here, I think it required some slight modifications because I'm using the auto instrumentation, so auto configuration of the SDK. It's nothing special really, but I should also configure that properly. There is some connection here, but there's no logs or indication that I actually have sent any traces yet. Okay, let's try to create some transactions. I have some errors popping up here. That's a sign, I guess. There are some sample events with a trace ID. Not sure how to interpret that. Really looking for errors here. Okay, that's a known error. Unexpected configuration error. Okay, you know what? I'll have to look up my article that I did, and I have all the details in there. So if I just go to my articles, there were some environment variables that I had to use to strip the eager. Okay, where are... Oh, okay. I have to use these. Yep, I think that's it. Are you guys using the OpenTelemetry on a daily basis? Okay, there are a few errors. I really hope they are not related to the OpenTelemetry. Okay, matrix exporter here. I think this should be OTLP. I don't think I should be defining that. Auto, I think it should be OTLP or something. Hello, Mayank. It's nice to see you. Okay, I mean, the OpenTelemetry is pretty new here, so okay, the value there should be OTLP, not the. It's a pretty new thing, and you know it has the potential to replace the current LPM APM tooling. Okay, so you're using only the proof of concept. That's okay. That's also fine. That's not a like that's still some progress, right? And it really depends on where you're moving from. Like if you're using some, you know, archaic tools to for troubleshooting, or you have utilize some APMs it really makes a difference. You know, from where you jump. Like and I think the power of traces itself and the ability to really have a full end-to-end correlation, especially if you have like a huge and complex architecture, it really makes a difference. Okay, I have to define this OTLP collector again. Let's see. OTLP, and I think this should be good. No errors so far. That's good. That's a good sign. There's only one, but the one that I see here is typically related to how the Selenium WebDriver opens up. It's an error because I'm currently intercepting all the calls that the WebDriver is doing and would make to the backend. So if it also opens a dummy page or dummy traffic, I'm also going to capture that. So I'm getting an error here. Pretty sure this is it. Okay, so it says unknown protocol data. That's the default page that the web driver is opening at the very beginning. Okay, so we don't have any errors right now. I think if we open the Eager UI right now, they should be popping up as a service. I sure hope that they do, but only the Eager query is available. I really don't like this. I really don't like this. Are those ports even opened? I don't think they are. I'll have to recreate the Jaeger and open up the OTLP calls ports. Because this is the UDP, TCP. I don't think they have the default configuration. If you open a website, and I just did that like today, it's gonna cancel this one. If you open the Jaeger page for the Docker, I don't think it specifies the ports actually to open for the collector. So it only does like for example here you have the ports that are opened by the Jaeger collector, and they are not exposed if you open up the recommended say Docker image configuration, right? So if you just click a Jaeger Docker image, it says getting started. At the getting started page, this is the list of the ports that they recommend to open, but they don't really even. Okay, that's the front end, that's zip compatible, but they don't even include the ports. They don't even include the ports for the collector, right? So I'm just gonna do that. Let me just copy these. Visual Studio Code. And I'm just gonna add these manually. So I need a port of are the default ones. Like, I understand the decision of that. It's mainly because if you're running an application, and if you're running an application you want to have a collector with, it's running on a container, your application would most likely also run in a container. So I understand this decision, but it's not very helpful if you just have something already running on your machine and you want these ports exposed anyways. So let's again see the ports we have to expose. Gesture, gRPC ports. That was a list of these, right? Okay, that's the one. So we have the LTP enabled, and these are 4317, 4318. These are the ports you have to run, right? So that's a deployment you really want to. Yeah, I think that's what we need. And let's just start this container. Just open up a window. Eager tracing all-in-one. I don't really care for the all-in-one release. It doesn't even exist. Why it doesn't? Okay, I'm just gonna take these ports from here. I'm just gonna get these environment variables in here. I should be okay. And why was it colored differently? I don't think it should be fine. Okay. Okay, let's try this one. It's all in one version. Conflict. Okay, the container exists. Of course it exists because I haven't deleted that. Just I have to delete that forever. Let's try it again. And now this guy should have all the ports enabled. So we can export the events and the spans straight to Jaeger. So I switch from Synos to Jaeger. I think it should be working now. Let's see. I think I'll have to restart the JMeter also to reestablish the connections because it may have a few complaints. Yes, add event. So these would be coming from our OpenTelemetry API. I will just restart the JMeter. But right now, I think we should be good with exporting these spans and events to Jaeger. All right. We are, I guess, good. Let's see, there's no errors here. Nothing to worry about for now. If you only also, want to search for the errors, you can just, search and select the, options and the log level. You just, change it to error. It's going to only show you the errors. But I found it more useful when I'm debugging a test or when I'm trying to when I'm trying to develop something new, I want all the details on, at least, to know more or less where the failure has occurred, right? So even if I don't know exactly when, like, which piece of code it did, like, come from, I still have at least some points, like, in time that I can just ping to and validate. Okay, so we have these events, and let's try opening the eager right now. No services. That's okay. That is something very wrong here. Why am I not getting anything from my eager service? I should have my service listed here because I've explicitly asked it to do that. My JMeter, it's open. I don't know why I have two JMeters opened. I think this might be the root cause of that. You know what? Let's reopen this JMeter thing. Let's reopen that and see what had happened. Because if my collector, like, if my JMeter cannot forward the spans to OpenTelemetry, and I think I should be having at least some explanation or some log that I could not do that, right? And they should, like, once you instrument your JDK, like, this all happens asynchronously. This may wait or batch the spans and traces before it sends them out to the collector. But once it fails to do so, it should also give me at least some, some explanation that, hey, I couldn't send you, like, your spans anywhere. It still only shows one service, so I was hoping to see my service name, which would be called definitely not JMeter, in here. It doesn't show up in here. There can be a few reasons, but the most probable one is that my JMeter doesn't send these to Giger. Not sure it's good. It certainly doesn't look like it. So we have moved away from a working sign-os collector to a non-working but better Jaeger. I don't think that was a good trade. It really should just give me those traces. Like, in here, at least, there should be some message that they couldn't send these spans anywhere because they were created, right? And I don't think it's a question of if. It's maybe when they have. Okay, let's see what the errors are there right now. So we have an error with the protocol. Unexpected configuration error. Okay, that's new. What are the configuration errors? What are the configuration items I should be looking for? So transport, I think I should define the host. I'm also concerned that it actually popped up on the second attempt. So I'm not, it only happened on the second try. But at the first try, I didn't even complain that I was supposed to do something. Okay, let's. And it doesn't even tell me which exactly configurations I've missed, right? Okay, so we have OpenTelemetry attributes. These are some arguments. That's the propagators. That's okay. Exporter should be eager because I'm using the eager here. That's okay. That's the exporter for logs. Matrix OTLP. Okay, I think that should do it. But which one of that is complaining? That's an interesting thing. Okay, set up hotel. Unexpected configuration error. You know what? Let's try to get some more debug logs. See if we can find out more from this implementation. I'm looking for this error entry. Unexpected configuration error. That's all I get from here. So I'm not really sure what the failed config would be. Get back to the info because we're gonna generate too many logs. Huh, that's interesting. Why would I have in? I'm pretty sure this setup had worked previously for me. Again, what were OTLP? That's a metrics exporter, so that's fine, I guess. You have a service name, you have a traces for Yeager. This should be okay. Maybe I should define a host or a port better. Like you could do this environment variables. I want to do that via the environment variables for sure. These are all collector configurations. No, I want the SDK. Okay, that's service name. That's okay. So it's the auto service name. We have it defined. We have the attributes. I don't think we need that. Sampler. This is disabled. We're not sampling these anyhow. Propagators. It's also not required. What I need is endpoint. But not for the sampler. I don't really care about the sampling here. Ah, this is gonna be fun. OpenTelemetry set endpoint. Okay, the default one should be fine because it's 4317, right? Open OTel Explorer OTLP endpoint. That's the default one. So we're running over the HTTP localhost 4317, and as far as I know, 4317 is an exposed port. So it should be working. You guys don't see that because I'm pointing at something here. So this guy should be working for 317. You know, a few more minutes and I'll just give up on this whole idea to move to Jaeger because it just doesn't work. Huh. You know what? Let's. I'm not sure. Okay, so 4317 is for the gRPC. I think it should work with this configuration. Let's try to do that. Host 4317. Because this collector is working. I'm not sure why it doesn't work. Okay, let's try this again. There are no errors for now. Let's check right now. The second attempt, it was throwing some errors at least. As again. I might have also updated that to a different version of OpenTelemetry, and this would not work right now. Unexpected configuration error. I'm not sure what that even means. Like, what the hell are you talking to me? Like, what's your problem, OpenTelemetry? Failed to initialize OpenTelemetry, unexpected configuration error. What now? Like, let's see. That's the least useful error message I've seen, and that's an error. Like, okay, I see an error in the configuration. Obscure configure, and that's exactly what's the problem. I'm really hoping this would be resolved. Why the hell was it closed? Like, it doesn't define anything. This is changes. So it's in different language. The problem is in the different language, but the message remains the same. Why would it be with a different? Am I overriding the service name somehow here? Is that the case? No, I don't think it's a. Yeah, the service name is totally not JMeter, so it might be defined, but I don't think it's a. That's really the problem here for the tracer. Perhaps it is, but it still should tell me what's the unexpected configuration error. Is that right? You guys don't see it, of course. Okay, so that's the error we're trying to tackle here. The worst thing is, and that's the worst thing that is so far, that it worked with the sinos, right? So you just plug it in and it just works. With the switch to the year collector, it's not the case. Unexpected configuration error. Okay, so I'm not running really anything on a over DSL network here. The ports are the same. I've changed the port right now, but to the default one as well. Maybe if I run that over a, I don't know, I've changed the port to the gRPC. Maybe if I switch that to HTTP, maybe it's going to do something differently. I'm not really sure the endpoint, but I doubt it's going to change anything here really. I love those live coding streams because right now you just had spent 45 minutes of watching me struggling with a simple update. In theory, this should be like a plug and play. Okay, like now we are on a like Sinos. Now we are on a bigger. If someone brought in tempo, sure, let's do tempo, right? It's not the case as you can see here. And I'm not sure what the culprit here is. Because this message here, this really doesn't tell me anything. That's a configuration error of what? What is it the collector configuration that is wrong? Is it my like configuration of my instrumentation wrong? I've got no idea. It's just stopped working. I've tried to send it to Sinos, but it didn't work. So and I'm still left with the same. You know what? Let's switch back to the Sinos. Maybe let's stick with that. And I will be mad at Sinos for the next rest week. But I'll be more angry with Eager. Can you actually complain on these tools? Like, hey, this tool works, this doesn't? And can they just return to me saying, your configuration is wrong? This doesn't make any sense, right? How is it for usability? If you have to spend your time really, configuring this stuff, if other tools just work, right? That's your time. And now we've spent here like 45 minutes right now trying to just make a switch. It's supposed to be like seamless, right? It's just a collector. It's really nothing like advanced here. I remember I had some troubles like previously when I was trying to do this instrumentation with Eager, but it did work at the end. So I was like, yeah, okay, maybe that's just the hard way of installing it. But with the Sinos, it just worked. Like this shit just worked. Okay. Let's see if my attempts of configuring stuff didn't break it more. It probably did. So I will have to check right now. See, the collector default port is 4317. That's the default port of that. Maybe if I get rid of these configs of the default ones, this should be running. And we'll have to apologize to the Sinos folks. No, I mean this thing just works, right? It may be not the most pleasant for events, and that's the only thing I have problems with right now. So how do you represent the events on a timeline, right? There is no really representation of that, and that's I'm guessing it's not that hard to add it. Hey, this is where this event happens, like in the timeline you're seeing. Like that's what I'm the most interested in. Okay. Restart because I'll have to okay, no, I think I'll have to close this one actually, and I'll have to override the config I had. Actually have to override all the configs I made because I have to define the service name. I want to override the traces exporter because I don't want the Jaeger traces there, and also the endpoint 4317. That's, I think, the most important configurations. Let's see if the auto instrumentation had picked it up. It should. Like I remember like half a year ago when I was trying to do that, it was just working. Maybe I just broke something, and with Sinos it's not gonna work either. So that's worth a shot. Though. Okay, there was one error. Services 4 days. So I need the last 5 minutes. Okay, for the last 5 minutes, no event had shown up. That's interesting. I may have broken something. Oh, hello, Noemi. Nice to see you. I broke the sign-offs and the OpenTelemetry instrumentation of the JMeter here, so we're trying to fix that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I broke it. There's 2 errors, not 3. So that's a good sign. Actually, if I have here... No. Unexpected configuration error. Damn it. You know what? Let's try this without any other configurations. So let's get a raw clean session. What I did notice though is I'll have to define and override my Java home because I was past the some updates, and suddenly all the JMeter stopped working. So if you are planning to update to JDK 2022 and plan to use Groovy, then it's not the best time yet. So they'll have to update the versions for sure. My Mac had just updated the JDK to version 22 and it stopped working. So let's copy this guy here. I'll have to define it as a Java home later. And let's open a new terminal window. I will open up with a blank sheet. Okay, now this is my Java home. Okay, so let's see, and I think this should work right now. So this might be something with requirements of the gRPC collector or something. Maybe there's some interdependency between the variables, but the message is so obscure and so irrelevant that I don't really know. I don't care at this point, right? If I just hit play here, this thing just works, right? And I should see the service calls here, right? So they will be defined here. Oh, these guys have shown up at last. So definitely not JMeter. This is an instance that I had opened. So they were sent to the collector, but they were indexed with some delay. Even though we had some errors about the instrumentation, they had not shown up. The problem is I wouldn't even know whether they were indexed with eager or not. Funny stuff. That's very funny. Okay, let's see those calls. If they are... There is some weird thing happening here. So the dev tools, I recall actually explicitly not enabling the dev tools calls capturing. So that's pretty serious. When did it happen? It was now. Okay. And if I open it, definitely not JMeter. Open dev profiles page. Again, I don't like these here. They should not be there because these are the tools and this is a communication from the browser, from the WebDriver with to JMeter. They should not be captured. And this usually means that the page listener is active. I don't think it should be. Okay, that's the one here. So page 6. I think it is. Really hope it's not, but this guy should be disabled. And you know what? I'm just gonna remove all the instances here so we don't forget about it. Now, if I open that, they should also provide me with some details. Okay. This is my service. I'm waiting and I'm expecting the last call that I can get. So, why is this call from the future? Okay, I'm really looking for this view here, right? So HTTPS, no DevTools calls, not anything that I could capture as a internal communication. And all of these are accounted for. That's nice. I'm not sure what happened. Must have been some hiccup in the code, but deleting the listener to the page domain worked, so that's fine, I guess. Okay, so we are back to square one. We have the sign-ons. We know that the switch to Jaeger is not as seamless as I would hope for, and I also came not prepared for that, so I wouldn't be the perfect guy to give you advice on how to install Jaeger, although I did it like half a year ago. But we are back to square one. What I also wanted to implement was the listening of the events like all the backend calls and listening of all the modifications to the DOM models. And can I draw it? Can I draw anything here? Maybe is this drawable? Can I just sketch? Oh, I can add a sketch here. I think this should work. Guess. Yeah, I can add a sketch. Let's try to maximum. It doesn't work from a start. So the problem that I'm gonna have. I'm sorry for that. I'm gonna try with my finger, I guess. So on a timeline, can you guys see that? No, of course you can't. Damn it! I really thought this would be seamless here. Let's catch with a. Can I use it? Yes, I can do that. Wow, that's pretty cool. But I'm really unprepared for that. Again, let's try this again. No, just it doesn't work like that. Sorry for that, guys. I really was hoping that it would work slightly better. The sketch thingy here doesn't do anything. I cannot even do much here. It's 100 note. No, okay. What I want to see is, okay, first of all, the events. See, I had some actions. I had some closer, but these events were not even captured, right? And that's the risk I have when I prematurely close the span and prematurely finish the measurements of the open page, right? That's the first thing that I want to tackle. Also, if I'm not wrong, not all of the Core Web Vitals that will be useful and meaningful here would show up here. right? So for example, if I have a page that is still doing some CLS, if I only stop measuring it after I finish the last call, it's also not really usable, right? So I want to expand it slightly and replace all of these conditions, like expected conditions, with some logic on the back end, like on the front end, that is going to tell me that hey, I have all finished all the network events. So this is going to be a network idle event, and also the rendering idle. So I want no changes to the DOM. I want no changes to the front end I see, and after that I can define that hey, the page is idle right now, and I can finish measurements, right? Um, the yeah, and I think the performance test suite is the best one to do it on larger scale, as opposed to the test automation framework, because you still have to include these timings and these weights to simulate the real user actions, right? So and that's exactly how the Google is going to capture these metrics. So they see those users, they're gonna see they're gonna trace the user actions, and from there. From there, the data, the core web vitals would land into Crux. So yeah, let's do some at least some validation of that. First of all, I have a Web Vitals Selenium. Okay, I have the Web Vitals Selenium package. So that's my own extension for the Selenium web driver. And let's 1 second. Let's try to expand it somehow. I did cheat a bit, so background listeners. Okay, I have to stick to the same convention. I did cheat a little bit, and I did ask a GPT to get me the code that I'm trying to get, because I'm not really a browser specialist, and I hate JavaScript. That's the two main reasons for me not to implement that. So let's see if I can just open it up here. Okay. Okay, I've asked the GPT to get me this code for me, and one thing before you even try to copy paste anything from GPT, first of all, this should be the last resort for you to actually use the GPT to generate the code for you, unless you really know what you're doing, and which I'm not, of course. But you also have to understand and really understand what you are pasting in your code. JavaScript is a bit weird language because it's single-threaded. So what happens there? If you want to assure some concurrency, if you want to make sure you're running a few concurrent transactions at once, you heavily have to utilize the asynchronicity. So all the promises, all the signals, all the signal emitters, observers, stuff like that. So um, all of the sorry, I've lost my words right now. What was the word? Then the programming patterns, all the programming patterns that would be affiliated with a single thread mechanism, right? The upside of that is that you don't have to worry about any race conditions because they simply do not exist in JavaScript, right? So a function runs until completion. So there is no way that, for example, like in Python, that you would have two threads affecting the same variable, but that's at the expense of really of a speed, right? So if you are running some JavaScript code on the browser, you have to make sure that you do not occupy the main thread too much, right? So you will have to do some compute, you have to do some operations with the JavaScript. That's fine, but as long as you don't have to really like wait or or force it to do some operations constantly, you just release that, right? And you just wait until some other thread or some other transaction completes. Guys, it is already past 5 p.m. I think we are running in circles right now, so I will briefly just explain what this code is doing, and we can then implement it on the next session. So what this guy is doing, maybe I'm just gonna slightly shift here. Okay, so first we have an active count of active requests. This is going to change. So this is the integer that is going to keep track of all the currently executed backend calls. And also we have the active backend tasks. So these are the tasks that will be modifying the DOM, and so all the elements on the front end, right? My goal is for this code and for this function to keep track of all the instances of all occurrences when we start to make a call to the backend, and all the calls and all the attempts to modify the front end, and wait until they all stop, right? So I keep track of all the I put the trackers to all the observers to all the attempts to make a backend call, to all the instances of finishing this backend call. So I get notified whenever I start a new call, whenever I finish a new call. Oh, hi Ivan, it's nice to see you. And after that, I can make a decision whether I want to finish the tracking or not, right? The thing here is I have to I don't really know which tasks are running in the backend constantly, so I have to put out some timeout to finish this computation, right? So because these are all asynchronous, they can be only I think 6 resources downloaded at a time. There can be some gap between the code executes between the fetches. So these are the calls to the backend from the browser that will be called fetches. So there may be a slight gap in between them. And that's why I need some timeout value to finish measuring the all these tasks, right? And to me, the condition of when I want to stop waiting for to measure the browser is to have all the backend tasks completed and also all the frontend tasks completed. That's what I can safely, at least somewhat safely, assume that that the browser isn't going to do anything more. The problem with this solution here, though, is if we put a timeout on these, and I'm just going to keep waiting after every single occurrence of the events, the problem is this timeout is going to be included in my measurements if I just put on a stopwatch and try to measure this stuff myself, right? So that's a big caveat here. When I want to add this timeout there, it will be also included in my measurements, which is not the case, right? Mostly at least. So if I open up a page, I would have a timeout here of some sort, but in reality, this timeout I should not be measuring that, right? So with with each event, I think we'll have to modify this code slightly. That with each event, also if it gets committed, I will have to notify and or at least keep track when the last event had occurred, right? This is what I want to stop, or at least want to with my JMeter or OpenTelemetry traces to stop to stop my measurements, right? Because if I also add the timings of my timeout, then there will be whatever I have in metrics plus my timeout, right? And if I put it too large, if this value is too high, this will skew all the test results, and people will be asking, hey, why is it like suddenly 2 seconds? It was always one, right? So this is what I'm trying to avoid. I'm really thinking about how to parameterize these timeout values somehow, because they can vary. They can vary really from website to website, and they can vary from step to step, right? I can have a page that is going to be dynamically loaded and it's going to take a long time, and there will be some high pauses, maybe embedded in the code somewhere. That will be some like timer that after 10 minutes, or not 10 minutes, but after like 10 seconds there will be something new shown up, right? And I want to capture that as well in my measurements. So that's something maybe I will also consider. But right now, my two metrics and two main conditions to finish the measurements is to keep track of all the backend calls and keep track of all the modifications to the DOM. Does it sound any like good, or is it the dumbest thing you have seen in a while? Just type it in the chat. Another thing that may occur with this solution here, if I want to, let's say, if I want to block my thread for occurrence of this event here, so this will be the event that I will be acting on. If I block my current thread on this particular event, I may also capture the previous ones. That's nice to hear, Ivan. So one of the things that I'll have to also keep track, if I do return this event with the browser, so that's a communication between the browser and the and the JMeter. So JMeter is going to effectively expect a promise. So that's JMeter is going to add a new listener to this window, and it will get notified whenever this task had occurred, right? There is a caveat to that. If, for example, my action had emitted this event already, right? So if I invoke some action and this event would occur before I try to capture it, then it will be problematic. So I have to add another listener, another check to verify, hey, have you actually occurred already? And if not, just wait for a new one, right? With some timeout value. That's my guess. That's my best attempt to that, and I think it makes some sort of sense. Okay, but for now we are already past the time, and we will try then to implement it on the next session. Thank you very much for attending the call and this live stream. I hope I did not bore you too much. Thank you for the comments. They are always welcome. And we can schedule the next session for Friday. I'm just gonna wait for the comments to show up. Yep. Okay. See you.